Nothing about those 5 years was a story. Those years were real. They were lived. They changed the structure of my nervous system and my life. The culmination of that stretch was the day that Marlo died. We hadn't planned for him to pass in the hospital, but that's what happened. In that hospital room, there were moments of grace. Amends were made. I abided in impossible decisions. Words were spoken that needed to be spoken. Love was present in the middle of devastation and heartbreaking loss. His family and I left the room together and then scattered. We scattered to our respective corners of life. To answer the question that rises in moments like that, what now? I'd had 7 months to prepare. Full medical care, 24/7. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I remember leaving the hospital and I didn't go straight home. I went to a restaurant. Alone. You know those caulking guns when you press the trigger and the sealant fills the cracks in something that's fractured? Marlo's death felt like a bomb blast layered on top of the other events of those 5 years. None of it could be denied. I wasn't sure that metaphysical caulking gun would be of any use to me, but I knew it was in my hands somehow. And that became clearer as the days unfolded. The grief didn't disappear. The despair was real. All of it was alive. But something deeper moved in that little restaurant, post-death shock and regurgitation. It was a knowing. It was a knowing I didn't recognize. I didn't know how pivotal it would be, how much breadth and longevity lived inside of it. I'd known transcendent states before, but this was different. I knew I couldn't fix this in any traditional way. I couldn't manage it. I couldn't organize it into something neat. And I knew something else with equal clarity. I couldn't heal inside someone else's container. Not inside someone else's idea of what I needed. Not inside someone else's timeline. Not inside someone else's version of better. That only stirred up old wounds. People were loving and people were kind. But most of what was offered were quick fixes. Limited attention, tired modalities, frameworks, timelines, the idea of closure. And I understand all that. I even respect it. It's human to want to fix away dramatic hurt, both in ourselves and in others. But what became really clear was this. I needed to be witnessed. I needed to be heard. I needed to be held in the space. And not many people could do that to the degree that I felt like I needed. So I learned to stay with myself. Not to reject support, but to understand what my nervous system required. I witnessed. I didn't fix. I stayed. I stayed with the trauma, the grief, the betrayal, the estrangement, the loneliness, the guilt, the fear, the despair, the bewilderment, the anger, the anxiety, the depression. There were things that were moving underneath, things that required space. Anything else felt like a psychic violation. And gradually something shifted from content to context. I tried on beneficial neuroplasticity. I studied it. I studied bereavement. Slowly over time, I realized capacity existed inside awakened awareness. At the time, I had no language for it. Back then, it just felt like more self-abandonment. A new identity would be built, brick by brick, moment by moment, from my values, not someone else's prescription. I needed to feel safe in my own skin. And that began with me and the loving hand of the greater universe. Capacity exists in copious amounts. Even if you don't believe that, I don't believe it either. Awareness becomes capacity. Capacity makes choice possible. And if you can't find capacity right now, there's no need to feel bad or like there's anything wrong with you. There isn't. If you're someone who thinks it's been over 2 years, why is Lyndon still talking about this? I'll lovingly invite you to scroll on by. This reflection isn't for you. This is for the ones who feel the weight of navigation. Or the ones who feel shut down, dysregulated, unheard, alone in the intensity of what's happened. This is your invitation. Your invitation to come home. To rest in your own witnessing for as long as it takes. Because something larger reveals itself when you do. Not by pushing, not by planning, not by forcing light, but by allowing awareness to widen. That's where my capacity came from. I didn't know it at the time. I know it now. I'm not just okay. I'm living a life built from that ground, the ground up, brick by beloved brick. And in your own darker moments, days, weeks, months, years, you can return here if it resonates. Let it loosen something. Let your tears be here. Hand on the belly, one on the heart. Breathing in, breathing out. Receiving the truth. That's you. You're not alone.